If you guys want some coins for the new Fut Fantasy promo, please check out MMOXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself 5% off your order. This supports the channel greatly. So what's up guys, my name's Ash, and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video guys, I've got some updated 4-2-3-1 custom tactics and player instructions that I'm currently using in Fut Champions. These have changed quite a little bit from my other ones with the instructions, so I hope you guys like it, but if you don't, then I am sorry. But just before we get into today's video guys, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up, as that does really help with the YouTube search. Also subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on those notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And with all that aside guys, let's get right into today's video. Okay guys, starting off with the custom tactics. These aren't too different from usual, but I'm going to go through them anyway. With the defensive style guys, I like to have this on balance. This is just because it gives me the greatest control over my defense, where I'm able to press when I need to press, and I'm able to drop off and be a little bit more conservative when I need to be, so it does give me the much needed control, especially against those tougher opponents. You can be very one-dimensional with your defense with like pressure tactics, and I don't really like it. So yeah, moving on to the defensive width guys, I have this on 40. This is so we can primarily cover those central areas and make us as nice and compact as possible. A lot of people worry about those cutbacks, but honestly it doesn't matter how high that defensive width is, people will still find a way to do them, so it's better to have a narrow defense to at least block off the middle. Now moving on to the depth guys, I like to have this on 60. This is so we're not constantly getting pinned back all the time with a super low defensive line, but at the same time we don't push up too far to the point where we're always getting through balled. So we have a really good balance in having this on 60, which is why it has been super effective for me. Now moving on to the build up play guys, as always I suggest using balance. The reason for this is FIFA 23 gameplay is often terrible, it's complete ass, so you need to be able to suit yourself up for all of the different types you might experience. Balance will allow you to play well in terrible conditions, good conditions, and all sorts. So balance is very good, especially when there is inconsistent gameplay. Fast build-up's alright when the gameplay's good, but as you guys know, it very rarely is. Now moving on to chance creation guys, I suggest using direct passing, because this is the only setting which will actually make your AI not be brain dead when you are attacking. If you look at the diagram, you can see the white dots, which are your attackers. They're actually making movements, which is what the AI should be doing, right? But if you look at something like balance, they're very static, they're like NPCs, so yeah, we don't want that unbalanced. Some people like forward runs, but I feel like it's just a little bit too much, and when you lose the ball you are really prone to those counter attacks. So direct passing is the way to go guys if you don't want a completely brain dead attack. Now moving on to the width guys, I have this on 46. This is so we're not too wide, but at the same time we're not narrow to the point where it's like an orgy and our players are sat on top of each other. So by having this on 46 we have got a really nice balance of narrow and width at the same time. So that's what the 4-2-3-1's really good at, as it is a very balanced formation guys. Now moving on to the players in box, I've actually gone for 7. This is so we can overload the penalty box to create as many chances as possible, and it's very difficult for those people that park the bus to actually mark every single player in the box, so a lot of the time they will get punished for it, which is what we like to see, right? So I have this on 7. It might be a little bit too aggressive for some people, but I have really been enjoying it. You can lower it if you like. As for the corners and the free kicks, I like to have these both on 1 because I have a corner kick routine that I use, and if you guys want to check it out, there is a link to it in the top right hand corner of the screen. Sorry to interrupt the video guys, but I just wanted to show you guys about FREECASH. If you use my link in the top right hand corner of the screen and ensure you are using my code VITALREMA when you sign up, you are able to earn lots of money basically for doing nothing. So you could play Raid Shadow Legends and earn $80, you could download TikTok and earn $2, or you can see what I've done is I've just made an account on Tide and I've got 23,000 coins, which is $23. So you can get coins basically for doing nothing, and then you can cash it out in pretty much anywhere you want, whether it be PayPal, Bitcoin, Litecoin, gift cards. So there's lots of things you can do with it guys, and if you do use my code you will get 3 cases when you do sign up. That is if you earn $1, in which you can earn up to $250 in each case, so it is worth it. I may earn a small commission off of your earnings, but yeah, it's very minor, and obviously it does help support the channel. So I just wanted to show you guys this if you are looking to earn some extra money, and be sure to use my code code VITALREMA FIFA, as that does support me greatly. Now, moving on to the players you want to use, guys. In the striker position, I suggest going for a nice, well-rounded striker, somebody that can shoot on either foot if you can get it, obviously. You want somebody that's able to dribble, pass, shoot, basically do a bit of everything, because you have to compensate for the fact that there is one striker instead of two. So you don't want an absolute Eddie Stobar up front where they're not going to be able to turn, but at the same time, you're not going to want somebody with dwarfism either, because you're not going to get the balance. So yeah, go for somebody nice and well-rounded is my suggestion. Now, moving onto the cam, guys, you're going to want a nice technical player, somebody that's able to dribble, pass, shoot, basically do a bit of everything, because this is your main playmaker in the formation. It's important that you use a very good central cam, otherwise you might struggle to actually create any chances. You don't want somebody that gets stuck in mud, because you're going to find it difficult to create anything, so make sure you are using a nice technical player in this cam spot. Now, in the two right cam and the left cam positions, I suggest using winger style players, players with pace, players with skills, players that can cross, pass, shoot, basically do a bit of everything. You're going to want to use those quicker players, because these are your main wide outlets of the formation. You're not going to want to use somebody that is very slow, because it's not going to work out too well for you, I can promise you that. Now, moving on to the left CDM, guys, I like to have a more defensive minded CDM. This is somebody that's going to stay back, break up the play, and really add to the defensive support. So yeah, you are going to want somebody with like a medium high work rate if you can get it, but don't worry too much about the work rates, just make sure you're going for a very nice defensive player. Now, moving on to the right CDM, you're going to want a more box-to-box player, somebody that's going to help attack and defend and really add to the transitions from defense to attack. It's important you have a player that is capable of doing that. So yeah, go for somebody with well-rounded stats, and if you can get it, a high work rate is beneficial, as you get the maximum contribution in the attack and the defense. Now, moving on to the left back and the right back, I like to have a bit of a balance between the two, where I have one attacking fullback and one defensive fullback. So Roberto Carlos is going to be a bit more technical, and he's going to add to our attack, and Cafu's a little bit more defensively solid to really add the balance to the defense. If you guys want to go for two attacking fullbacks or two defensive fullbacks, that is completely fine. As for the centre backs and the goalkeeper, you just need these to be as good as you can possibly get them. Moving on to the player instructions, guys. On the striker, we have stay central, so they are not prone to daydreaming and running off to the wings looking for sweets on the floor. So stay central works very well to keep your striker in the correct position and make them act in the way that they should. As for everything else, we leave it alone, because we don't really want to restrict this player. With a one striker formation, you don't always want them bombing in behind like it's nobody's business, so sometimes having it on mixed attack does really help with the build-up play. So yeah, that's why we have stay central, mixed attack on the striker. Now for the cam, we actually have him on stay forward. This is so he sits in a better position when we are defending. Sometimes when you have them on basic defensive support, they come back a little bit too deep, and they're not very useful when you win the ball back, because they're almost in your own penalty box at times. So by having him on stay forward, he sits in a more natural position, which allows us to kickstart those attacks a little bit better. Moving on to the right cam and the left cam, we have get into the box cross and come back on defense. So we have them on get into the box cross because we want them to make those transitional runs. We don't want them to be complete passengers just watching the play when we are in the penalty box. So by putting them on get into the box cross, it means they will actually make those runs to get involved, which is what you want, because otherwise it can be very difficult to create chances. The reason we have come back on defense is because sometimes these guys are a little bit brain dead when we are defending. So by putting them on come back on defense, it just means they sit in a little bit of a better position. It also helps with the build-up play, because they're a bit more connected to the rest of the team, which allows for those quicker, shorter passes. So it's not a defensive move as such, it just means they're always in the better positions, basically. Now for the left CDM, the more defensive-minded CDM, we're going to have stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes, and cover centre. The reason we do this is just because it is the most defensive options you can have. Cover centre means he's not going to cover those wing areas, as we've already got enough players doing that, so we need him to cover the central areas to break up the play through the middle. Cut passing lanes just means he's going to be there to intercept those passes and allow us to go on the attack. And stay back while attacking means this guy's not going to get any big ideas and start charging up the pitch. Now moving on to the right CDM, guys, we just have cover center, and then we leave them alone like a bratty child, because we don't want to restrict them too much. So cover center is important, again, because we want to cover those central areas, but at the same time we don't want to restrict any other options, because we want this player to do a bit of everything for us in that free role. Now moving on to the left back and the right back, if you have a bit of a skill issue, guys, you can put them both on stay back while attacking, but I suggest having one of the fullbacks, your more attacking minded fullback, on balanced attack and overlap. The reason we do this is because because the 4-2-3-1, albeit a little bit of a wider formation than some narrow formations, is still quite narrow, so sometimes we need to have that extra wide option to really add to the attack, otherwise it can be a little bit predictable and easy to stop. So balanced attack overlap means this player is going to make those overlapping runs to add extra width to your attack, and it does give you wider options, which is super useful in this formation. For the more defensive minded fullback, I have him on stay back and overlap. This is so he stays back while default, so we add defensive security, and then we have him on overlap because let's say I do trigger a run forward and he decides to go on an adventure, he will make the overlapping runs to add the extra width. As for the centre backs and the goalkeeper, we leave them alone because yeah, there's not much to change there. But yeah guys, they're my custom tactics and player instructions for the 4-2-3-1. If you guys have enjoyed or found this useful, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on those notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And with all that aside guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all later. Peace!